everyone. Welcome to the Angry and Ornery Show episode. Oh, I won't say what episode number because I'm superstitious, but that should clue you in. I can't believe we're actually in the teens doing this show. That must be either we're absolutely stark raving mad or we're just crazy. Anyways, I'm Zoltan Mint, and welcome again to the Angry and Ornery Show. We have moved our studio, so I wanted to mention that we are now in the city of Beguile on the same sim, Snowpiercer. I actually own this parcel, so it's a little easier to move it over here. And I created a brand new city, again named Beguile, that I highly encourage you coming to and exploring and checking out because I think you'll enjoy yourself. We have a lot of fun things here. If you want to come to the studio and watch us tape this live, just let me know. Log into Second Life and look up Zoltan Mint and we'll get you here. You can also watch us live on live stream. That information will be below me in post-production. And then finally, you can watch us on YouTube because in a couple of days this will get edited. All the naughty bits taken out. No, I leave those in. And we will post it on the YouTube channel Angry and Ornery, which I encourage you wholeheartedly to join and help the cause. Anyways, it's Angry and Ornery. That must mean there's somebody else. Let's bring that somebody else out. Our co-host, Mr. Lionheart.
What are you doing way over there?
I'm kind of standing over here, so I don't know. I'm afraid of you.
You're afraid of me, okay? Because usually you're a little bit more center stage, but this time you're kind of far away. But anyways, hello everybody.
How are you doing today?
I'm fair. How are you?
Also fair. It seems like every time we tape this, there's some type of weather disturbance, and once again today, we just got over a very lengthy and long torrential downpour, which may or may not have flooded everything, and a few tornado warnings to boot, so yippee for us.
Yes, and the governor just announced that Phoenix was in a state of emergency because of the flooding we actually had in the desert, which is very weird. It's the desert. It's not.
Well, you know, with all this global weather changing and warming and climate changing, perhaps that the virtual world is the place that will be the only safe place in the near future.
That's it. It's finally made sense. You're secretly Dr. Evil. You've been changing the weather so that way people would log in more to see our show.
Mwah.
Brilliant.
Have a seat. Our cameraman, Florian, is flying around our studio right now with his handy-dandy flying camera. And you'll probably notice the show is probably getting a little better every time we do it. It took all these episodes to get us to this point. Can you imagine in another dozen or more episodes what we'll be like? Probably
Maybe
just
we'll
as
be
shit.
a little better for once.
I was going to say just as shitty. But anyways, so I hate to keep talking about TV shows because it seems like we do more TV show talking than movie talking. But the subject I wanted to talk about was TV shows. What a surprise. You got something maybe a little less...
Surprise.
That's a TV quote.
A
Little less
really?
TV.
Yes, I have a little less TV. Would you like me to kick off with a little less TV?
You do that, and I'm going to pound a couple beers.
Better, never mind. Yes, recently I've had the chance to see some newer films for once, and currently right now I just had the beautiful chance to see Snowpiercer, which was just recently made this past year. It's the new action / sci-fi flick with Chris Evans. Of course, everybody knows who he is because he is currently Captain America in the Captain America films and the Avengers films. It also has a lot of other notable actors. Tilda Swinton shows up. John Hurt shows up. Basically, the rough storyline of the film is it is the not so distant future And we have gone through global warming, just like we were just talking about with weather, and everything has become covered in snow. Started snowing, hasn't stopped. And everything is buried. You cannot live outside. You will freeze to death in the matter of minutes. I believe at one point they quoted of saying that somebody outside lasted 4 minutes being in the bitter cold. And everybody is now on a gigantic train. And basically first class and the engine is up front, just like a normal train. And that's where your rich and your powerful are. And as you get to the tail, that's where you're poor and you're destitute and your lost souls and your drug addicts and basically everything else like that are at the end. And they're getting tired of eating ground up bug bars, and while the rich are able to have cattle and sushi and everything else, so they decide the old-fashioned, give a revolt and try to take over the train. And it's very interesting because the set is literally train cars all the way through. Of course, very long train cars, but it's very interesting, very intriguing.
Would you call this would you think this is more of a class struggle movie or more of a science fiction film?
It's more of a class struggle because as they get closer to the front of the train, you start to notice how the classes, pardon the pun there, are changing. As in, a few cars in, they're kind of still with middle-class workers, and eventually by the end, they're going past cars and there's people being fitted for suits, and, there's an actual car that's an entire aquarium, and a greenhouse car.
Could it be compared to Hunger Games on that level? Political level, I mean.
Yes, because what it is, the rich get richer on this train somehow and keep in higher status. And of course, the poor are beaten down, and sometimes, yes, they do seem to do terrible things to the poor, and it's almost like they do it for sport, because they mention how everything is being monitored and watched by the gentleman who owns the train. So it's a big class struggle.
This is based on a graphic novel, correct?
Correct. It is based on a graphic novel. Of course, it's got a huge cult following. It translated very well into a movie, which is sometimes hard to do for a graphic novel. But once again, you were dealing with somewhat simple premise. It's a train. They look outside every once in a while, and you see the snow and everything else. But for the most part, it's them moving through the train cars, trying to get to the front and try to overthrow things. And of course, there's a few twists and a couple interesting things pop up. But over and all, I would definitely say go out and rent it. It's worth the 2.5 hour watch. Very
nice.
Good film. Yes.
And that just dropped yesterday. We're filming this on November 10th.
Yes.
Wednesday, right?
And it just recently dropped. So
along with Captain America and a few other rather good films.
Yes, they did.
Okay. Well, actually, some TV shows dropped too. Supernatural, for the Supernatural freaks that are in my audience right now. Their latest season just dropped too, but that's not what I wanted to talk about this week. I wanted to talk about a couple of shows that I'm currently watching and about halfway through. And I think it's a good time to talk about a show when you're halfway through, because if you don't know the ending yet, you can make speculations and you try to guess, and you can also tell if a show is really good, if it's going to hold you beyond that middle point. And one of those shows currently is the show Weeds, which I know is probably old for most of you, but for me, I just finished season 1, and hopefully we'll be starting season 2 either tonight or tomorrow. I had some reservations about it. I'm not a big Mary Louise Parker fan. I never really thought she was that great of an actress. However, ironically, I frequently would confuse her with Elizabeth Perkins, because they seem like the same actress, and they kind of look alike, and they kind of do the same parts. And why I say that's ironic is because Elizabeth Perkins is also in Weeds, along with Hunter Parrish and Kevin Nealon and a few other recognizable faces. But so what got me going about Weeds was the fact that a lot of people compared it to Breaking Bad, or vice versa. I think Weeds was out before Breaking Bad. So, however, although there is definite similarities, Weeds is a lot more lighthearted. It's a dramedy. I hate that word, but it does kind of sum up a lot of TV shows these days. Part comedy, part drama. The dramatic parts are tear-jerking, and the comedy parts are knee-slapping, and you never know what you're going to get. Usually both in every episode. So it's a typical half-hour premise. HBO, I believe, right?
Yes, it was originally on one of the.
Or no, Showtime, wasn't it? Yeah, Showtime. But anyways, I'm watching them on DVD currently, which I highly recommend. It's better that this kind of show, situation comedy, is good on a binge basis, because you can watch 4 or 5 episodes in a row. So what I like about it is I was pleasantly surprised that Mary Louise Parker is actually quite good in it. She's a terrific actress, as it turns out. Having smaller parts in previous TV shows and a few movies, it was kind of really hard to see how well she is as an actress. And holy cow, near the end of season 1, there's a scene in a car where she's kind of talking to herself. And for those of you who don't know the premise, she is basically a yuppie woman living in suburbia whose husband dies and leaves her with 2 sons, and pretty much she was not financially prepared, so she takes up selling marijuana. And like Breaking Bad, the small business turns into a big business really quickly. So it's her constant struggle with the morality of supporting her family selling illegal weed, and actually liking it, kind of like the Walter White character, right? So there's a lot of very funny characters. Her brother-in-law, who lives with her, I forget the name of that actor. Hunter Parrish is who plays that character. He's super good as kind of a slime ball layabout that doesn't really do anything. And Elizabeth Perkins is terrific also in it, because she's playing a character dying, or not dying. Well, she could be dying, but I mean she has cancer, and she's fighting the cancer. So and she plays this real bitchy, typical suburban yuppie bitch who very cutting and demeaning and so forth to everybody. But you kind of like her because she speaks the truth. But it's a really wild cast, and it kind of goes places you don't expect it to go. And I think that's what I like about it, because every episode can be very different from the previous episode. So if you got some time and you want to watch a dramedy, I highly recommend Weeds from Showtime. I think all the seasons are available currently on DVD. And how many seasons, you're going to ask? I'm going to say from 2005 to 2012.
8 seasons altogether.
There you go. So there's my weed take. Your turn.
Plus, she's really, really hot in the series.
You know what? A lot of people think she is Mary Louise Parker, and although she's better looking in this than previous things that she's been in, I still think there's something very odd about her face. I'm not quite. I don't know if it's her nose is too big, but here's a little secret. Watch the show, and whenever she talks, her nose moves. It's like she has very little something weird muscle thing where when she talks, I'm not joking, dude. Especially in a profile shot, when she talks, her nose moves up and down.
Okay.
Who does that?
When you have a pretty person on screen, why are you staring at her nose to begin with? I mean, I would.
She does have. I will give you. She does have a smoking body for her age. She's really well. She's in shape, that's for sure. But anyways, that's enough about that.
Okay. So, one of the other fantastic things I was able to see, this is going to be streeting here very soon in the U.S. It's currently out in other markets out of the country, but recently Dead Snow 2 came out. I might have
God, this
mentioned
sounds
a
like
while
one of
back.
your horrible horror films, isn't it?
No, it's not, and this is actually just did really well at all the film festivals, much like Tusks did. This is a horror comedy. I wouldn't even truly say it's a horror film. It's a comedy. It's very throwbackish to Army of Darkness. The Sam Raimi style horror films where you're more or less laughing at the silliness that's going on than, being horrified that somebody's being ripped apart. Um, the flick just came out this year. It's a sequel to the 2009 film Dead Snow, obviously. It picks right up where the first one left off. Same cast,
This
which is
isn't
always
like
a
a,
bonus.
a deranged Santa Claus with an axe
No, no,
killing
no, no, and
kids.
that's
All
what I
right.
was. That's what I was just about to say. The film, and please don't laugh or judge, is about
I'm here to do that.
a group of Nazi zombies.
Of course,
That
because if you're going to have zombies in a movie, they might as well be Nazis.
they're Nazis, and it's the head Nazi zombie leader is named Herzog, of course named after Werner Herzog, the very famous director. But he goes around with his troops and
Was Werner
base.
Herzog a Nazi?
No, but he's German.
Oh, I see.
But
Wait a
anyways,
minute. Are you being racist right now against Germans?
no, I'm
Because
not.
our
No,
cameraman's going to kill you because
I'm
he'll
German
shiv you
Irish.
with a Nazi dagger.
Nazi dagger. There
Just
you
killing.
go. That's being a little
Just kidding,
racist there.
Florian. Just
But any-
kidding. Just kidding.
But anyways, it's a funny flick. It's one of those. It's kind of like Shaun of the Dead. There's a good way to explain it.
So there is
Sure.
comedy in it.
Yeah, there's a lot of comedy in it. It's yeah, there's a lot of horribleness with people getting ripped apart. One of the funnier scenes is, the Nazi zombies realize that there's a tank at a museum they can use, but it has no gasoline. And there's a tour bus that pulls up. So, of course, as they're ripping the people on the tour bus apart, they take one of the gentlemen and reach inside of his stomach. And one zombie starts walking in one direction, holding his intestines as they're pulling it out of him. And the other one grabs part of the intestine and starts walking the other way. And the one starts feeding it down the bus tank of the gas tank. And the other one starts sucking on the other end of it, and they're using his intestines to siphon gas as they're still connected to his
Well,
body.
there goes our conservative female audience,
It's
if we ever had one.
funny. It's you know what there's a lot of female characters, and it's funny, and there's a little bit of romance going on, and it's good fun for the whole family. I mean,
You
yeah,
know, I didn't warn you that I was going to do this, but speaking of funny and horror, I saw the extended clip for American Horror Story last night,
oh, that looks
and
good.
okay, I can buy the smallest woman in the world, the little midget girl. I'm sorry,
Right.
little person, whatever they call themselves, and I can buy the all these other the bearded woman who is Kathy Bates.
Kathy Bates, yeah.
Right, and a few other, but they actually showed a two-headed woman.
Yes, yes, yes.
I'm
You
not
have-
buying that.
You got to remember, there really was a two-headed woman back in the 30s and 40s. That
Siamese
were
twins, yes, but this is
Siamese twins.
a one body with two heads.
It happens. Don't you ever watch the Discovery Channel?
Okay, not like this. Did you see the
Yes,
picture of
no,
this?
yes, and there are
It
people
looked like she had a long neck, and it was
Did-
like bobbling back and forth. It was just
Did you-
ridiculous.
Did you also see Angela Bassett is in it as a woman with 3 breasts?
Yes, I saw that. Yeah.
That's like amazing.
Well, that
You know-
I can buy into that. That's believable, but not two heads.
Wait, 3 breasts is believable, but 2 heads isn't?
Were you done with your horror review?
I'm done there. I'm now thinking about 3 breasts and 2 heads. So, can you imagine if
Or
it was
better
all the
than
same
one.
person?
Yikes!
So, I mean, what do
You
you
have
do if you
a
wanna go
third. You have a third breast, don't you?
No, I have a 3rd nipple.
That's right. Where is
An
that
extra
now?
memory gland.
It's on your back, isn't it?
No. It's where roughly where it should be. It's right next to the other one, a superfluous nipple. So
I see.
Yes. Yes.
All right, so the next thing I wanted to talk about was Sons of Anarchy, because the season premiere was last night, and this is the season premiere for the final season. Now, I have been a fan of Sons of Anarchy. I want everybody to know I think it's a terrific series. It certainly has its highs and lows, gratuitous violence, funny moments, painful moments, dramatic moments. I mean, Kurt Sutter, the creator and writer of, I think, almost all of it, is a demented son of a bitch, but he's brilliant, and he certainly created a series that caught a lot of people's attention. I think mostly middle-aged and older women love the show, not just because of Katie Sagal, who is in that category, but because of the character Jax, played by Charlie Hunnam. I can't pronounce his name, but anyways, the looking boy from, is he English or Australian? One of the girls in the audience should be able to tell me what he is. I think he's British. But anyways, so he's a fabulously handsome guy who plays a bad boy. And, my theory is that all the ladies that watch that show dig that because they think that he is a bad boy and that they could fix him. He's so good looking and he's so bad and that's so dangerous and cool and whatever. But in reality, and we've talked about this before, about bad characters being idolized, he's a horrible barbarian. And in the season premiere of the last season, he showed just how barbaric he could be in a ruthless, lengthy, butchering torture scene that he applied to a character. Now, because this is so fresh, I'm not going to give spoilers out. But keep in mind that we seem to be having some camera problems, I'm being told, but hopefully he gets that rectified soon. Anyways, not serious. Okay. Lionhead's head is just cut off, which is probably a good thing.
Lionhead? Lion
your head.
heads?
Your lion head is cut off. Anyways, so this scene lasts the length of Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody, and you know how long that song is. It's been retooled. The song itself has been redone by unknown artists at this point, because there will be a soundtrack for this last season, like there has been for the last several seasons of Sons of Anarchy. And it's long and it's brutal, and and I thought it was unneeded. And actually, the entire show, the premiere was I think it was at 2 hours, hour and a half, something like that, 90 minutes I think. And I thought that was a little too long. He's also kind of become formulated. He's very famous for the show for doing these musical montage where they play like some new hip song or an old song covered by a new artist, and then they show a montage underneath it, a collage of images of all the characters in their various spots in the city or what have you. And he's done that almost every episode. Well, last night they had 2 of those. So I think Mr. Sutter is pushing the soundtrack pretty hard, and almost like there may not be enough material, so he's filling it in with these rather lengthy montages. That's occasionally punctuated with this abhorrently gross violence. So I didn't think I was going to like Marilyn Manson, but he had kind of a small part. He plays a Nazi skinhead that's in jail.
Is he a zombie?
I think no, he's not. But I think he'll make an appearance. I think he'll probably get out of jail or something like that. But anyways. Next week we see the girl from Glee. What's her name? I can never remember her name. She has 2 first names. Help me out, somebody out there.
I don't know. I don't watch Glee. I hope they all die.
I don't need it. Leah Michele, thank you. Leah Michele is actually in Sons of Anarchy. She kind of looks like she's a waitress from the previews, but unclear at this point. And finally, Courtney Love is supposed to make a appearance in this final season as well. So I don't like any of those three people, and I thought maybe I was going to hate the show. But there's still enough intrigue and interest to keep me watching it, and I'll watch it to the end. Honestly, the only way I can see this show ending, and I kind of hope Kurt Sutter does this, is just kill everybody. Just kill everybody. Kill Jax. Kill Gemma, his mom, played by Katie Sagal. Just kill everybody, and it'll be done with, and we can all move on. So there's my take. Watch it. It's fun, but get ready for some rather lengthy scenes of violence. Your turn.
Okay, so in other movie news, of course, as you said previously, the new Captain America: The Winter Soldier streeted yesterday. It's now out on DVD and Blu-ray. Great flick. You need
Must
to pick
own
it up.
it.
Must own. It's one of those must owns. But of course, that movie, you have the great Robert Redford in it, and he came forth saying he wanted to do a superhero film, and now this has snowballed. And the way this is snowballed, of course, we have Ant-Man coming out, which they're currently working on, and they have Michael Douglas who's going to be in it, because Michael Douglas now wants to do a superhero film, and he's going to be playing the original Ant-Man in the film. Well, now that Michael Douglas has done this, it has snowballed one further, and now actors like Al Pacino, Robert De Niro are now coming forth and wanting to sign on to the Marvel Phase films and wanting
You
to
know
be
why? I mean,
involved.
it's not just a prestige thing with these older actors. It's the fact that these movies are churning
They're
over
good.
$100 million a
Yeah,
release.
yeah, yeah. They're good. The Marvel franchise right now is it's hard to reckon with that series. I don't think the DC films are going to do as well.
Which is funny
But
because that's a flip flop from what 20 years ago when DC
right,
ruled the
right,
movie screens.
right. And the other reason why you're getting a lot of these older actors who are coming forth now is it's the funny thing of they all have grandchildren, younger grandsons, granddaughters, and they want to impress upon their grandchildren in being a superhero film. That's one of the
Right.
reasons why Redford did it.
I call that the Nicolas Cage syndrome.
And well, yeah, but
Make
so
make
it's
movies for your kids.
right, right, Coppola.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see what happens here, and we might end up with some big name celebrity actors. Who
But
knows, popping up in Avengers.
they are definitely running out of superheroes, and I didn't think that would be possible. I used to sell comic books at my game
Right,
store
right.
in real life. But look at what they're doing. They're back with Howard the Duck. They're doing Ant-Man. Come on, how
Well,
obscure
well,
is that?
Ant-Man became very popular in the Marvel reboot series of the Ultimate Avengers, and that's kind of what they're basing the Avengers on right now is the Ultimate series. And Ant-Man actually became popular around the late '90s, early 2000,
Yeah, we
with
carried it.
these reboots. Yeah, but there's also a lot they haven't touched. There's so much more you can do. You've got Doctor Strange, which we're really hoping that they don't screw up and cast the wrong person. Um,
Well, they
the
did announce Shazam with
which
I
uh,
love The
Dwayne
Rock,
Johnson, yeah,
Dwayne Johnson, right?
um, that is a DC film, but they said it's not going to be partaking in their DC franchise of the Batman, Superman, Justice League thing they're doing. I'm kind of interested to see how they're going to do that because Dwayne Johnson is going to be playing Black Adam,
Right.
and Black Adam is a villain, but he was originally the quote original Shazam slash Captain Marvel, whatever you want to call him nowadays,
Right, right, right.
and he ended up going evil. So it's kind of
That's
interesting to
Marvel,
see.
right? Shazam?
No, that's DC. DC
That is DC? Okay.
yep,
I
yeah,
didn't read it,
but
so I know very little about it.
yeah, but the other funny thing is the new Shazam. Well, it's always been this way. It's a child. It's always been a young boy who turns into this muscular bound person. So it's kind of curious to see how they're gonna work Black Adam in and how well they're gonna do this. I really can't see The Rock playing a villain. He
Yeah.
did it. in Doom, and he was
Well,
okay.
he did it in the Scorpion King, sort of.
Well, that's an anti-hero. It's one of those you kind of want to
Right.
root for him. He's taking out an evil that is worse than himself. But like you said, and I freely admit this, I think he's a good actor.
I do too.
I've
What
seen
was the what was that action film he was in that nobody saw?
The
Uh,
Rundown.
it, Rundown. I
Yeah,
love that movie. By
yeah,
the way,
him
if
and
you have
Christopher.
not seen that, if anybody's watching this and not have seen The Rundown, get it, watch it, pop some popcorn. That is a movie night. It's
Yeah,
funny, it's
yeah,
exciting, the stunts are incredible, and it's got a pretty good story.
yeah, yeah. I mean, he can act. I
He's
mean,
underrated.
yeah, he is. And when he did Saturday Night Live, he blew everybody away on how good
He
he
was
was.
funny. And
Yeah,
he's not
yeah.
afraid to do anything. He'll wear women's clothing.
Well,
He'll take a pie in the
it
face. He's
and
got
he also
humility
did.
and
Yeah, he back in the day when it was still on the air, he did that '70s show, which was funny because he was playing his own father because his father in real life was a wrestler, and that
right.
was the character he was playing in the show. So he actually got a chance to
And
portray.
don't forget the ladies love him. I mean, he's a looker, and which I find a little
Yeah,
weird
yeah.
but yeah, they think he's
I
real
mean,
good looking and all. So
even the horrible
not
GI
sure if he's
Joe.
leading man material or not, but I don't know.
Well,
He's a
he
good
I mean
actor.
he can hold. He can hold his own. They just need to give
Right.
him more chances.
All
But
right.
we'll see what
Listen, we're
happens.
gonna run out of time here.
Okay, I'm done. I can shut my
Well,
yap now.
I mentioned I just want to mention, and I'll make this one quick. Another the last TV show that I'm currently watching and loving is a show called Wizard Wars, which I think that's on Science Fiction. Or I mean, I'm sorry, the Sci-Fi Network, and just came out. It's only about 4, maybe 5 episodes into it, and I know I'm a little biased being a magician in real life. And this is indeed a kind of a game show, reality show type thing that features magic. However, watch it and judge yourself. Don't take it from me. It's actually highly entertaining, and I'm asking you, Lionheart, to watch it, and audience, studio
I've seen it.
audience, and oh, you have seen it.
Yes, I
Don't
have
you
seen it.
find it? Don't you find it rather intriguing?
I do find it rather intriguing, and I have a question for you because
Sure.
maybe you'll know this. Is this like Americanized version of a British TV series? How like American Idol and stuff is?
I'm pretty
Because
sure it's not because I think it was the creation of Penn and Teller, who have actually a couple of shows on right now, various
right,
networks.
and
They
the
have
reason why
another one on CW called Show Us or Show Me or whatever the hell it is.
right. Well, the reason
But
why I ask is their opening credits. It shows Penn and Teller on the in the middle, and on the right is Vegas, and on the left in the background it's England.
well,
Take a look at that next.
Show Me is filmed in England, and that's a British production being shown here in this country. But I'm pretty sure that Wizard Wars is filmed here, either in Vegas, probably in Vegas or
Probably Vegas.
L.A. But the cool thing about, and I guess I have a personal connection, is that I know a lot of the people on the show. So
Right.
Angela Funovitz, one of the wizards that gets challenged. And by the way, the setup is kind of complicated. It takes you got to watch kind of one whole episode to understand what the game is really about, because there's like a panel of judges, there's a panel of experts, there's a panel of teams that compete with each other. I don't know. It's just very peculiar. But anyways, Angela Funovitz grew up in a city right next to me here in northern Ohio, and we used to hang out with at the same magic clubs together. So it's nice seeing her on a national network show, and she's good on it. And she looks like she's having fun. But coming up, one of the contestants is another female magician friend from northern Ohio. This one a little further away in Elyria from where I live, and she's going to compete. They team them up with well, there's 2 magicians that go against the experts. I'm using my quote fingers here, and so her name is Shania or Shanna Reed, and she was a local winner in a convention that I went to many years ago. So it'll be fun seeing her compete. And what would be really cool, she competes against Angela Funovitz, because I'm pretty sure they know each other. But the magic's really good. The jokes are really, even if you don't like magic, you'll laugh because it's so funny. Don't you agree?
Oh yes, yes. I've always liked, it's almost like they're catering to that Penn and Teller style humor, which is
Yeah,
awesome.
definitely.
I've always liked
That-
that dark magic.
Basically, they get a bunch of random props, and they have just a few hours to put a routine together. So it's incredibly creative, and it really, if you're a person that likes to be inspired, watch it, because it will inspire you to be creative for sure. So, anyways, who knows? Maybe you'll see Zoltan Mint on, or at least the live person that makes Zoltan Mint move around someday. Three shows that I highly recommend: Weeds, Wizard Wars, and Sons of Anarchy. And you had three movies that you recommended?
Yes, Snowpiercer, Dead Snow 1 and 2, and of course, got to keep it with Captain America, so that way you balance out the zombie Nazis.
Yep, I'm going to watch Captain America hopefully this week, if not tomorrow, the next day, or something like that. So, well, that will conclude our show for today. We film every 2 weeks, and again, get on Second Life, join us in the studio audience, and watch us on live stream if you can't do that. And eventually, by this weekend at least, we will have the movie on, or I'm sorry, movie. We will have this episode on YouTube. Anything else, Lionheart?
No, we actually made it through episode 13 without
Hey, we're not done yet. We're not done yet. Don't say that. He didn't say that. Asshole. Kick you for that, saying that, you stupid moron. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.